the privilege of potential. Man, have I thought about this for a long time because I was, I would say I was plagued and paralyzed by my inability to take action because I was a sloth. I was deathly afraid of a challenge. But then I began to unpack, the reasons why I had not tried to even actualize my potential, tap into it, if at all, right? And a part of it came from traveling abroad because I saw that it gave me a realization like, whoa, man, life is so much harder in other places. I come back home and I realize like the game is on easy mode. And it's a tragedy. It's a travesty that I have to go abroad to see the way other people live for me to realize that I had the game on easy mode. And there is something to the idea that immigrants, for as much shit as they take, there's something to that story, which is what? The idea is that immigrants, they come to a new place, right? They're geographically, they've removed themselves, they've uprooted, and they're trying to root themselves in a new place, right? And they come with that impetus, that energy, that frustration, that desire to make something out of nothing, right? That part in itself is something to be commendable about, right? And then you have to ask yourself, you have to think to yourself, well, what's my destiny? What am I destined to become? Because if you begin to unpack that idea of destiny, you realize, right? You come to the realization, at least for me, was that think about all the little things that had to happen for me to get to where I'm at. Think about that. It's quite fascinating. The violence, the mishaps, the random encounters, the serendipity, the violence, the tragedy, the death, the life, the laughs, the all the in betweens, right? Even maybe, the RAPE, right? You have to think about all those things, right? Think about all the little things, the mechanical things that if they went 1 degree or another would have changed the entire trajectory. And then you go even on a personal level, right? You start realizing like you had to swim and beat everybody else, right? And just that in itself should be enough for you to be like, yo, I should probably do something about this. I probably shouldn't just wake up, be born, and not make anything of this world, right? Not build anything of interest, not tear up walls, not build new things, not create beautiful pieces of art, whatever it is, right? But you got to think to yourself, like, you're not really going to even try. You're not going to at least, like, why would you want a dream deferred? Why would you want to postpone your desires? Why would you be afraid to do the hard things? You have to ask yourself that, right? And really, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, like, grow up. I mean, seriously, like, grow up. There's no excuse. Grab your tiny testicles and tell yourself, I need to do something with my potential. At the very least, try. Right? It doesn't hurt to try. And look, this is the thing. I mean, most people don't even give themselves the opportunity to try. They paralyze themselves with fear. They don't bet on themselves. And you have to think about this. The best version of yourself is the best thing for the world. Almost all the time that you run into these monsters on the street, these degenerate, Neanderthals, if you will, you run into these people on the streets, these people that do terrible things. What do you think that is? That's a symptom of what? That's a symptom of someone who isn't the best version of themselves, who's quite frankly the worst version of themselves. Somebody that never tapped into their potential and or even acknowledge the fact that they even have potential, right? And maybe they don't, maybe they don't. But look, I think the way that you should take responsibility for this privilege of potential is what? It is your civic duty. You are cosmically ordained to make something of yourself, at the very least. That's all I can ask for. That's all God can ask for. That's all the universe can ask of you. And the difficulty is basically just getting out of your way. That's really what it comes down to. And I've made tons of excuses for myself in the past. I could blame my upbringing, my poor nutrition, my neglectful family dynamics, the bullying, the heartache, the breakups, the fallouts, the shortcomings, my inability to think clearly, to make good decisions, being timid and tepid and half stepping through life. But at the end of the day, I realized, like, wow, like I have this crazy opportunity to do something, right? And it's like, why not levitate through life? Why not feel like the world is rigged in my favor, right? The things that I want to do, I should just feel like they're going to be happening because they're for me, right? I really just have to get myself together, collect myself, and just move about. Um, and it's an easy way to think about this is like what you do with the body, right? You go and you work out and you build like these thick muscles, right? And the idea behind that is what you're supposed to be able to use that built up reserve for something, right? It should be a metaphor for what you're going to do with life. So it shouldn't just be an aesthetic thing. There should be some physical prowess that could come out of that. And if you don't use it for something, then what's the point of building it up? I see all these dudes that are at the gym, and it's like, for what? What cool stuff are you doing? I mean, besides putting food in Tupperware and taking pictures at the gym, it's just like, why would you do such a thing? Like, so it's like, but you also don't want to be a dweeb either that, is a skeletal figure and really good with computers, but can't do anything besides that. Can't deal with people on a social level, can't connect with others, and I feel like there's a beautiful balance between those two things, and you got to be able to play with both. You got to be a nerd, but you also have to be a physical specimen. You have to be somebody that needs to be reckoned with. And I think the moment that you decide to embrace the privilege of potential is when you will start to unlock a lot of the doors that you thought were not there for you. And that was the realization I came to. And it really just comes down to just owning it, owning the fact that this is what you're cosmically ordained to do at the very least. It's like I said, it's your civic duty. You weren't born for anything, right? You were born for something. Um, and most of us just have to be willing to embrace that, whatever it is. But anyhow, I hope this helps, and I will see you on the next.